Imagine discovering that a simple kitchen staple could transform your intimate health in under 2 weeks, targeting the exact issue most men past 60 face but hesitate to discuss openly. I'm talking about restoring what decades of living have gradually diminished. Robust circulation, heightened awareness, and that masculine certainty you remember from younger years. My name is Dr. Charles Bennett, a urologist specializing in male sexual health for mature men, with 3 decades of clinical experience. Throughout my career, I've guided countless gentlemen in their 60s, 70s, and beyond toward reclaiming capabilities they assumed were permanently lost. What I'm sharing today combines rigorous medical understanding with practical wisdom, yet surprisingly few physicians ever mention these approaches. Here's what might astonish you. One of the most underutilized strategies for reviving aging male tissue isn't dispensed from pharmacies. Nature provides it. When applied externally using proper techniques, this solution powerfully stimulates microcirculation, reactivates sensory pathways, and helps your most personal regions feel vigorous, energized, and responsive once more. This single daily practice could reshape how you experience your physicality within days. Over the coming segments, I'll reveal precisely which natural remedy to select, the exact application protocol, what physical changes to anticipate hour by hour, and 4 complementary methods to amplify results. If you've been sensing you're not quite the same lately, continue watching. This information could fundamentally shift your trajectory. Before proceeding, if you're new here, hit that subscribe button and activate notifications so you catch every men's wellness insight tailored specifically for mature gentlemen. Type yes in the comments if this resonates, or no if you'd prefer different content, helping me better serve your needs. Let's examine why so many mature men experience disconnection from their bodies, particularly in intimate areas. This isn't simply about getting older, and you're certainly not at fault. The genuine explanation runs deeper than most clinicians acknowledge. A gradual but relentless decrease in blood delivery, nerve sensitivity, and cellular energy precisely where masculine identity finds its physical expression. Understanding the intimate decline. After 60 daily in my practice, I encounter men beyond 60 who arrive quietly troubled, sometimes carrying shame. They're transformed from who they once were, both physically and romantically. Though they rarely verbalize it directly, I recognize the frustration in their demeanor and body language. That vital spark seems extinguished. Their physiology no longer cooperates as it previously did. They've accepted this as inevitable aging. Let me state unequivocally, that's oversimplified. What's occurring in intimate regions isn't some enigmatic penalty accompanying years. Rather, it's a measurable biological transformation. As we mature, blood vessels throughout the lower pelvic territory, the arterial networks and tiny capillaries delivering oxygen-enriched blood toward penile tissue and adjacent structures, progressively constrict and lose elasticity. The remarkable expandability those vessels possessed, enabling them to dilate and saturate the region during arousal, gradually diminishes. Without consistent blood delivery, you forfeit more than mere function. Sensation itself weakens. Responsiveness dulls. Spontaneous firmness becomes infrequent. That reliable morning readiness you once enjoyed without thought grows rare or vanishes completely. Additionally, nerve terminals that previously activated with minimal contact now require substantially more stimulation before responding. Here's the aspect nobody discusses. With compromised blood delivery and reduced neural activity, your brain begins severing its connection to that bodily region. It stops feeling authentically yours. For numerous men, that fundamental sense of identity, the understated confidence derived from physical vitality, disappears first. The loss runs deep, not exclusively in romantic context, but in self-perception, partnerships, and overall mindset. I'll share something personal. My own uncle, a dignified, resilient individual who devoted his career to construction work, confided during a vulnerable moment. "Charles, it's as though sections of me simply stopped functioning. I'm disappearing." That statement resonated profoundly, not because it represented tragedy, but because it was entirely addressable. He didn't require pharmaceutical intervention. He needed enhanced circulation, targeted stimulation, and cellular restoration. When we provided those elements through natural protocols, he genuinely revived. Not exclusively in intimate function, but holistically in spirit. This deterioration isn't about chronological age, it's about focused attention. The masculine physiology remains eager to respond. It's awaiting the appropriate catalyst. As you'll discover shortly, that catalyst needn't originate from prescription medication. It emerges from something considerably more organic, historically proven, and remarkably potent, likely already present in your pantry, waiting for rediscovery. The pressing question becomes, what exactly is this overlooked solution? How can it resurrect the vitality and responsiveness you previously possessed? Allow me to demonstrate. I vividly recall introducing this remedy to Richard, a 71-year-old retired firefighter among my long-standing patients. He possessed that characteristic quiet strength, reserved, dignified, never complaining unnecessarily. However, during one appointment, he finally met my gaze directly and stated, "Doctor, I've lost my sense of manhood." Those words affected me powerfully. Not from surprise, I'd encountered similar sentiments previously, but because I recognized his vitality remained intact. He simply needed guidance toward reactivating it. When I explained how a straightforward natural oil could restore sensation, enhance blood delivery, and rebuild confidence without pharmaceutical intervention, skepticism crossed his features. "Oil?" he questioned. "Something topical like moisturizer?" "Precisely," I confirmed. "However, not ordinary oil. This possesses unique properties." What I recommended was extra virgin olive oil infused with garlic extract. The subsequent week's developments proved extraordinary. Most people consider olive oil merely for cooking. Yet across Mediterranean civilizations for millennia, traditional healers employed it beyond culinary purposes, for enhancing circulation, reducing tissue inflammation, and supporting muscular recovery. Contemporary research increasingly validates what ancient wisdom already established. Extra virgin olive oil contains oleocanthal, a compound demonstrating anti-inflammatory properties comparable to pharmaceutical agents. It also provides oleuropein, which research indicates helps dilate blood vessels, meaning enhanced oxygen-rich blood reaches intimate tissue. The garlic infusion adds allicin and sulfur compounds that further promote vascular flexibility and nerve conductivity. This combination addresses precisely what aging masculine tissue requires. When massaged into the lower pelvic region, the pubic area, inner thighs, and penile base, this oil blend produces sensations many men haven't experienced in years. It generates warmth, not uncomfortable heat, but gentle activation, as though your body is awakening. Richard described exactly this phenomenon. "There was energy beneath my skin again," he reported. "Not painful, just alive." His experience wasn't imagination. The oil stimulated peripheral microcirculation while coaxing dormant nerves toward responsiveness again. Beyond physiological mechanisms, this oil performs something measurements can't quantify. It restores men's sense of agency. You're not passively hoping for pharmaceutical effects or wishing for improved outcomes. You're actively nurturing yourself, deliberately reconnecting with bodily regions deserving attention. Not shame, not silence, but genuine respect. This transcends physical routine. It becomes meaningful ritual. For men like Richard, that ritual represents the transformation point. Now you understand the remedy. But what about precise methodology? Application technique proves critical. Minor errors in timing, approach, or target areas create vast differences between modest improvements and complete transformation. Next, I'll detail the exact step-by-step protocol my patients employ daily, which you can implement starting tonight. A major misconception I observe among men attempting natural approaches involves treating them as chores, something to rush through quickly. However, your physiology doesn't respond to haste, especially beyond 60. It responds to intentionality, gentle care, and mindful presence. Regarding olive garlic oil for restoring intimate circulation, application method equals the remedy's importance itself. Let me outline what I've taught numerous patients, including family members. First, prepare the oil properly. While extra virgin olive oil forms the base, enhancing it with fresh garlic maximizes benefits. Crush 2 garlic cloves, infuse them in 4 tablespoons of warmed, not hot, olive oil for 20 minutes, then strain. Alternatively, use pre-made garlic-infused olive oil from quality suppliers. The preparation should feel pleasantly warm when tested on your inner wrist. The subsequent step is where most men rush, yet where genuine transformation begins. Ensure your skin is clean and dry. Post-shower application proves ideal because pores open and muscles relax from warmth. Stand or sit comfortably and begin at your lower abdomen, just above the pubic bone. Using fingertips, slowly massage oil into skin using small circular patterns. You're not applying pressure forcefully. This concerns rhythm, not strength. Progress outward toward inner thighs, gently covering groin areas and around the penile base. Direct shaft application remains optional, though peripheral massage alone significantly enhances blood delivery and sensation. Breathe throughout this process. Inhale through your nostrils. Exhale through your mouth. Feel warmth spreading beneath your hands. For countless men, this represents their first intentional connection with this bodily region in years. Not pursuing function or battling frustration, but genuine healing. That's powerful. That's where transformation initiates. Perform this once daily initially, preferably evening. Some men practice twice, morning and night, especially during the first week. Each session requires 5 to 7 minutes. Not lengthy, but sufficient to communicate to your body. I'm present. I'm listening. I care. One patient, Marcus, told me after just 4 days of this practice, he felt something stirring internally. Not exclusively physically, but emotionally. He stated, "I hadn't realized how much I'd missed this kind of self-attention. It reminded me I'm still a man." He spoke truthfully. This transcends massage. It's a message to your body, your nervous system, your masculinity. The results speak volumes. But what should you anticipate over the next 2 weeks? That's where excitement builds. Because proper execution, day by day, triggers progressive changes more powerful than most men imagine. Let me show you what's achievable, 1 day at a time. 14-day progress. Timeline. What to anticipate. Most men express doubt when I mention noticeable improvements can commence within 14 days. I understand completely. After years, sometimes decades of decline, believing something as elementary as daily oil application could revive your physiology seems improbable. Yet I've witnessed this repeatedly. Not occasionally, but consistently. When men maintain commitment for just 2 weeks, something shifts. Not exclusively below the waist, but in how they carry themselves, how they perceive their own body. Day 1 often proves more psychological than physical. You might not detect dramatic sensation or performance changes immediately, but that time investing in oil application, massaging gently, breathing deeply, reawakens connections you've perhaps ignored for years. One gentleman told me after his initial session, "The revelation wasn't the oil itself. It was recognizing I'd stopped touching myself respectfully, as though I mattered." That moment of self-care initiates healing. By days 2 through 4, you'll likely notice subtle warmth in the region, a gentle tingling or buzzing sensation, particularly mornings. That's circulation returning. That's your physiology remembering responsiveness. It may seem minor initially, but it's genuine. Tissues receive nourishment again. Nerve endings reactivate. Around days 5 through 7, men frequently report sensitivity changes. Arousal becomes easier to achieve. Firmness may occur more naturally without requiring constant mental stimulation. You might notice returning morning readiness or experience less numbness during contact. With that, confidence quietly rebuilds. By days 8 through 10, something deeper establishes itself, not just physically, but emotionally. Men stand taller. They feel more grounded. Mirror reflections reveal not merely aging, but possibility. Partners begin noticing too, not always through intimate activity itself, but through the energy you project. You're present again, and that energy attracts. Days 11 through 14 represent what I call the recognition moment. You'll observe the area feeling warmer, fuller, more responsive, and you'll realize it transcends the oil. It symbolizes something profound: attention, intention, and restoration. One gentleman, aged 76, stated, "I assumed that part of me had died, but now it feels authentically mine again." That's merely the foundation. 2 weeks opens the door, but imagine amplifying these outcomes, strengthening them, making them permanent with additional natural tools. Because while olive garlic oil proves powerful, I frequently recommend 2 more botanicals working synergistically for even better results. Let me introduce you to the perfect combination, elevating your outcomes significantly. I met Thomas on a cold November morning. 73 years old, retired postal worker, married 46 years. He'd been using the olive garlic protocol for 3 weeks with encouraging results, but he wanted more. "Dr. Bennett," he asked, "is there anything else nature offers that could strengthen what I've started?" His question delighted me because it demonstrated he'd moved beyond skepticism toward genuine curiosity about natural healing. I told him about 2 additional botanicals I've witnessed produce remarkable synergistic effects when combined with his existing routine. The first is pumpkin seed oil. Yes, the same seeds you might snack on roasted contain concentrated compounds that specifically support male pelvic health. Pumpkin seed oil is extraordinarily rich in zinc, essential fatty acids, and phytosterols that research indicates help maintain healthy prostate function and support hormonal balance. When applied topically in combination with olive oil, it adds a deeper, nourishing quality to the tissue. It doesn't just stimulate surface circulation, it feeds the cellular structures beneath. I recommended Thomas blend 1 teaspoon of cold-pressed pumpkin seed oil with his garlic-infused olive oil preparation. The combination creates a golden amber liquid that feels slightly thicker, more luxurious. Within days, he reported the sensation went beyond surface warmth to what he described as deep energy, as though something fundamental was being fed and strengthened simultaneously. The second botanical I introduced was pine bark extract mixed into coconut oil. This might sound unusual, but pine bark contains powerful antioxidants called proanthocyanidins that numerous studies have linked to improved blood vessel function and enhanced circulation throughout the body, including intimate regions. Traditional European healers recognized pine's vitality-enhancing properties centuries ago. For topical use, I suggest acquiring pine bark extract powder and blending a quarter teaspoon into 2 tablespoons of melted coconut oil, then allowing it to solidify into a balm. This can be applied separately after the olive garlic massage, focusing on the inner thighs and lower abdomen. Coconut oil itself provides medium-chain fatty acids that absorb readily through skin, carrying the pine bark compounds deeper into tissue. Thomas incorporated both additions into his routine, alternating applications, olive garlic blend mornings, pumpkin pine combination evenings. After another 2 weeks, the change in his demeanor was striking. Not merely physical improvements, though those continued, but a fundamental shift in how he inhabited his body. He moved with more confidence. He smiled more readily. His wife mentioned to me privately during a follow-up that she'd noticed him becoming more affectionate, more present, more like the man she married decades earlier. These aren't magic potions, I reminded Thomas. They're tools, natural compounds that support what your body already wants to do. Function, feel, respond. You're simply giving it the resources it's been missing. What I appreciate most about these botanical combinations is their adaptability to individual needs. Some days you might need more stimulation, other days more nourishment, occasionally more recovery support. You can adjust accordingly. That's nature's beauty. You're not forcing outcomes, you're inviting them. However, even the finest botanical remedies can only accomplish so much if daily habits work against them. That's why men achieving the most lasting transformation pair these protocols with several straightforward lifestyle adjustments. No, I'm not suggesting restrictive diets or intense exercise programs. Just 3 or 4 simple modifications anyone can implement today. Let me show you how to make this sustainable. This section is challenging to articulate, but it's essential. The biggest mistake I observe among men past 60 isn't physical. It's mental. It's the quiet decision to abandon themselves. Not dramatically, not suddenly, but gradually, day by day, they begin accepting a diminished version of existence, more limited, less connected. They convince themselves that what they're experiencing, or not experiencing, is simply what aging means, that their peak years are behind them, that intimacy, confidence, and vitality belong exclusively to younger men. But here's the reality. That belief inflicts more damage than any medical condition. Because the moment you stop caring for yourself, especially in intimate dimensions, you begin disconnecting from the very energy that makes you feel alive. I've witnessed this pattern repeatedly. Men stop looking in mirrors. They stop reaching toward partners. They stop expecting anything better from their bodies. That quiet resignation steals more than function. It steals joy. One patient, Leonard, told me something heartbreaking. He said, "I simply didn't think I deserved to feel like a man anymore." I responded then, as I'll tell you now. You do. You always have. You don't have to accept decline. Your physiology is still listening. It's just waiting for you to communicate with it again. Most men fixate on superficial problem solving. They want faster firmness, more sensation, greater endurance. That's understandable. But they forget the foundation: circulation, nerve response, hormonal equilibrium, presence. Those are the building blocks, and they remain accessible. But only if you're willing to shift from resignation toward restoration. That's why this simple botanical routine isn't merely about outcomes. It's about reclaiming something deeper, the understanding that your body deserves tending, that pleasure remains yours to access, that feeling good in your skin isn't something requiring apology. It's something you deserve. The mistake isn't aging itself. The mistake is believing aging means abandoning growth. I promise you, it doesn't. You can age and still awaken. You can slow down and still rise, but only if you appear. Not once, not for 2 weeks, but with steady, quiet commitment. Now, if you're ready to evolve from short-term experiment toward lasting, lifelong practice, the next step proves crucial. Because genuine change doesn't emerge from what you do once. It emerges from what you repeat. Let me show you how to transform this new bodily connection into a daily rhythm that integrates easily into your existence and endures for years ahead. When I initially introduced these botanical protocols to patients, most treated them as experiments, something to attempt for a week or two, just observing what happens. That's perfectly fine. We all need starting points. But what I didn't anticipate was how many returned weeks later, not just for follow-up appointments, but with renewed energy in their voices. They didn't just want results anymore. They wanted rhythm. They wanted this integrated into their lives. Because truthfully, healing isn't about what you do once. It's about what you do consistently with care. For men beyond 60, building this into daily or weekly ritual isn't just helpful. It's transformative. The body responds to patterns. When you deliver the same message daily, you still matter. The body begins believing it. Not just through performance, but through presence, strength, and sensation. How do you make it last? Start simple. Pair the oil massage with something you already do, like evening toothbrushing or morning showering. Keep the oils in visible locations, not hidden in cabinets. Make them part of your space. Then dedicate just 5 to 10 minutes. You don't need candles or music or elaborate settings. Just your hands, your breath, and your willingness to reconnect. Several patients prefer beginning with brief walks, 5 or 10 minutes outdoors, just enough to activate circulation. Others add light movement, rising onto toes, gently rotating hips, stretching thighs. It's not exercise, it's activation. Then the oil. Warm it in your palms. Breathe it in. Let your touch be firm but kind. You're not rushing. You're listening. This is your time. Here's what matters most. Consistency. Some days you'll feel more, some days less. But every time you appear, you're telling your body, I'm here. I'm not disappearing. Over time, that message sinks deep. It becomes less about trying and more about being. A quiet return to something you thought was gone. Robert, a 68-year-old former mechanic, expressed it perfectly. This isn't a routine anymore. It's part of me. Like drinking my morning coffee or calling my daughter on Sundays. It just belongs. So, that's the transformation we're pursuing. Not just improvement, but integration. Because once your physiology starts remembering how it's supposed to feel, the next question becomes, how far can this extend? Because believe it or not, what we've covered so far is just the foundation. There's still one more truth you need to hear, one that might change how you view your body, your past, and your future as a man. Let's discuss that now. There's something I've come to believe deeply after working with thousands of men over 3 decades. It's this. Just because a part of your physiology has been quiet for a while, doesn't mean it's gone. It may be dormant. It may be waiting. But it's not gone. And you are not broken. Too many men cross 60 and begin feeling like they're fading from their own existence. Not because they've lost their strength or their minds, but because they've lost their connection to their bodies, their sense of self, their place in the world as men. I've had patients tell me they feel invisible, even in their own households, not needed, not desired, not alive in the way they once were. My answer is always the same. You are still here, and your body still listens, even if it's been quiet for a while. The oil, the massage, the rhythm, all of that matters. But underneath it all is something even more powerful: attention. When you give attention to a part of yourself, it responds. It doesn't matter how long it's been neglected. The body remembers your hands, your breath, your presence. It tells your nervous system, your circulation, your spirit, you matter. This isn't about trying to feel 25 again. It's about feeling like yourself again. A fuller, stronger, more present version of you. A man who hasn't given up. A man who knows his worth, doesn't expire with age. I've seen men in their 70s, even their 80s, look me in the eye after just a few weeks of this simple practice and say, "I feel like I came home to myself." That's what I want for you. So tonight, when you're alone, take a moment. Sit quietly. Warm a small amount of oil between your palms. Breathe. Touch your body like it deserves to be cared for, because it does. This is not about chasing youth. This is about honoring everything your body has carried you through. The pain, the work, the years, and choosing right now to care for it anyway. Because that care is strength. That care is masculinity. The truth is, once you begin this journey, once you reconnect and reclaim this part of yourself, you may find that something even deeper begins to shift. Not just your body, but your relationships, your confidence, your clarity. Because when you show up for yourself in this way, the world shows up differently for you too. William was among those men you instantly respected. A retired aerospace engineer from Texas, broad-shouldered, steady voice, the kind of person who built his career on precision, logic, and doing things correctly. He arrived at my office one spring afternoon with quiet heaviness in his eyes. He didn't complain. He didn't need to. After 20 minutes of conversation, he leaned forward and said, "Dr. Bennett, I still love my wife. I still feel desire. But my body doesn't follow anymore." That sentence stayed with me. There was no bitterness in his tone, just quiet defeat. I asked him several straightforward questions. When did you last feel strong in your body? When was the last time you woke with firmness? When was the last time intimacy didn't feel like pressure, but connection? He paused. "Years," he said. "It's been years." William was skeptical when I told him about the olive garlic oil protocol. Like many men his age, he'd tried conventional options, prescription medications, supplements, even testosterone therapies. But they either didn't work or made him feel off. The idea of using botanical oils, something natural, gentle, almost ritualistic, felt foreign to him. But I told him what I'll tell you. Sometimes the most powerful healing isn't loud. It's subtle, steady, and rooted in care. He followed my instructions. Just 5 to 7 minutes each night after a warm shower. No distractions, just the oil, his hands, and a quiet room. At first, he said it felt awkward, like he was just going through motions. But by day 5, he noticed something. He was waking before his alarm. Not from discomfort, but from a quiet buzz of energy in his pelvis. It wasn't arousal exactly. It was aliveness, warmth, flow. By day 9, he told me he stood in the mirror and looked at himself differently. "Doctor," he said, "I saw a man again." That struck me deeply. We think male health is all about performance, but it's really about presence. The ability to feel connected to your own body, to know that something inside you still works, still responds, still matters. On day 13, he held his wife's hand during their evening walk and felt something shift, not just in him, but between them. He didn't say anything. He didn't need to. She noticed the energy, the confidence, that quiet power of a man who had returned to himself. William's story isn't rare. It's just rarely told because most men don't think a story like that is possible for them. But it is. If you've made it this far, I want to thank you, not just for watching, but for showing up for yourself. That matters, perhaps more than you realize. Because somewhere along the way, most men are told, quietly and sometimes not so quietly, that after a certain age they should expect less energy, less connection, less intimacy. But I'm here to remind you that's false. You are still here. Your body is still capable. This journey you've just begun is proof of that. We've discussed why men past 60 struggle in intimate dimensions, not because they're broken, but because circulation, nerve response, and presence have slowly faded. We've explored how something as natural as olive garlic oil can reawaken those systems, and how pairing it with proper intention and simple daily rituals can restore warmth, sensation, and even confidence. You've heard genuine stories from men like Richard, Thomas, and William. Men who didn't settle, men who transformed quiet hope into powerful change. You've learned how combining olive oil with pumpkin seed oil and pine bark extract, along with mindful movement, can deepen that transformation. But what I hope you carry forward most isn't just the method. It's the message. You matter. Your health, your pleasure, your presence, it still belongs to you. Every day you choose to care for yourself, no matter how small the act, is a day you reclaim your strength. So don't let this be the end of a video. Let it be the beginning of a return to yourself, to your body, to the man you still are. The next chapter is waiting. Let it start with you. If this video spoke to you, even in a small way, don't keep it to yourself. Hit the like button so the algorithm knows this message matters. Share it with another man in your life who might need to hear these words today. Leave a comment below. I'd love to hear what part of this connected with you most. And if you believe in this kind of honest, empowering health advice for mature men, consider supporting the channel. Every bit helps me create more content that puts real care back into men's health. Thank you for being here. I'm honored to walk this path with you. This content is for general knowledge only. It does not replace evaluation by a qualified healthcare professional. If you have questions or symptoms, consult your specialist.